Peace and blessings, beautiful people. Peace and blessings. This is Goddess Imani, and welcome to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. The music is not in the notes, but in the silence between. Mozart. In this episode, we're diving into the divine pause. The divine pause, known as the Stillpoint frequency, honors the power of being overdoing. The Stillpoint frequency is an intentional moment of stillness in your soul's journey. It is a sacred space of harmony where emotion, thought, and striving fall silent. It is a vibrational holding chamber that allows the soul to return to its neutral awareness. It is the mystical 0 point, the vibrational pause between frequencies where remembrance, recalibration, and recreation occur. Some people call it a bubble. The still point is presence beyond effort. It is the pause between inhaling and exhaling, the moment between endings and beginnings, the threshold between who you were and who you are remembering yourself to be. In this frequency, you are being. It is where your system releases, rests, reset, and realigns with your soul's truth. And how awesome is that? Because I know for me personally, sometimes with all the noise of the world, dealing with other people, their energy, my soul needs to rest. And sometimes I bubble myself in the still point frequency. There are several spiritual frequency hopping effects of the still point frequency. The first thing that you may experience while in this frequency is frequency clearing. The still point clears emotional static and excess mental charge. Emotional static and excess mental charge are energetic interferences often expressed as being in your feelings or overthinking. Being in your feelings and overthinking distort your natural frequency and make it harder for you to hear your intuition, stay present, or align with your truth. This energy can be subtle, persistent, and draining. You may also experience energetic reset. After the still point frequency clears distortion, it returns you to center, giving you a fresh template for new frequencies to land. Now that you have made space for clarity, peace, and harmony, you may experience a quantum alignment. The still point prepares your resonance to match the frequency of your becoming. You may experience expanded intuition, which pauses the mind, allowing deeper soul wisdom to rise within you. The still point teaches you to hold opposing energies simultaneously. You can feel uncertainty and have faith at the same time. For example, people ask me questions all the time, and some of the questions that they ask me are, where are you going next? How long are you here for? Where do you live? In the past, my answers have been quite vague. I would try to explain, but no one really understood what it was that I was saying. And I got to the point where I got frustrated and I got tired trying to explain myself and my life to other people. So then I just started giving everyone the boilerplate answer, which is, when I'm in the United States, I live in Florida. I love Florida, right? It's beautiful there. So that's what I tell people. When I'm in the United States, I live in Florida. Then one day, I went to see my uncle, and my cousin was there, and he asked me the same questions. Where do you live? Where are you going next? How long are you here for? So this particular time, I thought, okay, let me give it another try, right? So I began to explain my truth, not knowing if he would even hear me, let alone understand what it was that I was saying. And to my surprise, before I could even finish my train of thought, my cousin, shout out to JB, my cousin gave me a very concise statement that completed my thought. And basically what he said was, you're being led by the Spirit. And I thought, oh my God, finally, someone who is on my frequency and understands me clearly. Whew. And that was refreshing, and it was a pleasant surprise. The lesson for me in being led by the Spirit was that I learned that I could stand in not knowing, not having all the answers, not having a total picture of clarity of what was next, while also trusting that my God is God self, that my soul knows the way. So you can hold both energies. The still point activates your receptivity. It calms your nervous system and aligns it with the higher truth and soul rhythm. It prepares your quantum field to receive without force, which means that I can just allow. I allow abundance to come into my life. I allow love to come into my life. All I have to do is just be open to rest. I rest within myself and I just allow it to come, and it comes. You may also experience sovereign trust. The still point builds spiritual muscle for divine timing. This process also increases your patience. Now, I'm not saying that you won't have moments of self-doubt, okay? So let me be clear, I'm not saying that. But in these moments, because again, you can hold both energies at the same time. So you can also experience self-doubt, and you can also trust divine timing. There's a video that I downloaded from TD Jakes, and I posted it on my Instagram and my stories. You can go over there and take a look. It's on my page, Imani Sanko, for under tips. And he talks about in that video, don't quit. That every leader, every warrior, every person that has been in this position has had the urge to quit, a feeling of wanting to quit, questioning whether what you do matter, question if people are listening, if they're hearing, if you're being seen, if you're being heard. Trust me, you are. You are. Somewhere, someone needs what you have to say. And they are listening, and it is helping. So stay on the path, don't quit, and trust in divine timing. Another spiritual frequency hopping effect of this frequency is that your third eye energy rises. Two opposites begin to alchemize into a third vibration when held long enough, and then you create something new. Now let me explain what that looks like. Let's say, for example, you have feelings of fear. You feel fear, yet you trust. You trust in divine timing. You trust in yourself, your higher God is God self. You are trusting. Well, what comes out of fear and trust together is surrender. When you lean into the frequency, that's what you get, surrender. Another combination is when you have grief. Maybe you are grieving something. It could be a loss of someone, a loss of something. It could be you dying to your old self, okay? It could be a loss of that. Put that together with joy. The joy of your soul is your strength. You put those two together, and on the other side of that is gratitude. You lean into those frequencies, and outside of grief and joy, those two together, you get gratitude. Another example is when you are holding on to control. You put control, surrender, polarities on the same spectrum. And when you lean into those energies, the center of that is sacred leadership. Knowing when to be in control and knowing when to surrender. Sacred leadership, we talked about that in the last episode. Go back and check that out if you haven't had a chance to listen to it. You can sense the change. The vibration softens, the polarity fades, and something new emerges. So signs that you have reached the still point frequency include: you feel calm yet alert, like time has slowed down. Your usual urges to act, decide, or fix momentarily vanishes. You're just being, right? You're just resting. You're sitting in a resting position. Your emotions begin to settle without suppression. You feel in between identities or energetic movements. You can sense the change, the shift. You feel that within yourself. You are experiencing a divine pause, the spiritual space between who you were and who you are becoming. And it's actually who you are remembering who you were before the world put all this other stuff on you. You're stripping away, releasing all the layers, peeling back like an onion, peeling back all the layers until you get to the center, which is you, the real you, the true you, your higher goddess God self. So some practices that you can access during the still point frequency include, these are some tools that you can use, include stillness. That's obvious. Just get somewhere and sit down. Be still. Have you noticed how some people cannot be still even when they're sitting? Be still, okay? Deep meditation. Alone time. Alone time is so important. I require this for me. In order to recharge my battery, in order for me to return to center, I need to be alone, okay? And then breath work. The breath work pause. After an inhale, hold. After an exhale, hold. Dwell in that pause as a gateway. This is a sacred opening, a transition leading to deeper revelation. There is a teaching that Iyanla Vanzant has where she's doing breath work. I'm going to put that on my website this week, spiritualfrequencyhopping.com. You can go over there and you can take a look at that. It's an exercise where she's showing you how to focus on the pause between inhale and exhale, and you're focused on the pause. Another tool that you can access while on the still point frequency is body stillness practices. Sit or lie still. Let your body speak before your mind answers. Let the silence speak to you. Silence can create contemplation and anticipation. It can release tension and it can reveal truth. I love silence. I love quiet. I love gentle. Feminine energy is so vital in this process. Your divine feminine energy. That's what this is. Just allow her to be. Allow her to rest within you. And then gazing. Gazing is another tool that you can use when in the still point frequency. Use a soft, unfocused eyes to help release mental grip. You can gaze into space, nature. You can gaze into a candle, light a candle, and just watch the flame quietly. Or you can use your third eye. You don't have to do any of that, right? You can just go within and use your third eye to gaze. Another thing that you can do is you can spend time in nature, whatever that is for you. Allowing your feet to touch the soil, walking through the ocean, the river, the creek. If you can do none of that in terms of accessing natural nature, just take a spiritual bath or shower, and that will allow your system to slow into coherence. The still point frequency affirmation. I surrender to the divine pause, and I rest in the center of all things. In stillness, I remember I am whole. I no longer rush between who I was and who I am becoming. In the still point frequency, I remember the rhythm of my soul. I surrender to the divine pause and rest in the center of all things. In stillness, I remember I am whole. I no longer rush between who I was and who I am becoming. In the still point frequency, I remember the rhythm of my soul. I'll leave you with this final thought. The still point frequency is the soul's resting ground between realities. In spiritual frequency hopping, the still point frequency is the sacred midpoint, where all directions begin and heavy energy falls away. This is the space where you release distortion, remember who you are, raise your vibration, and radiate a higher version of yourself. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sacred Love Lessons. I am the universe. Now what? Wherever you're tuning in the world, don't forget to click that like, comment, and subscribe. And until we speak again, be the light.